welcome to another Planning Phase. And again, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We are here with episode 16. You must unlearn what you have learned. Tonight, we're going to be talking about XTC as they had the championship finals today. And this guy won something. Can't believe I actually won it. Not XTC semifinals. I didn't win those, but I won on my predictions, crazily enough. We're also going to be talking about the new ship spoilers because God only knows that they're exciting and they're back to FO. So I'm extremely excited by that. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what churns my dial with AMG. And to conclude the show, we're going to kind of take it through a conversation about what makes a good squad. I really wanted to talk about this last week, but we just didn't get to it with our list reveal. With that being said, why don't we bring in all of my co-hosts. Welcome to the show, Mr. Matthew and Mr. Dillman. How are you tonight, sirs? Good. I hope you're good because I can't hear either of you.
We're just so good. We're just so excited.
I was trying to be polite.
I know, right?
It doesn't happen very often, but hey, I was trying to be polite. I'm doing good.
One time he does it a week. This is it,
right?
And it's always, it's always for me.
You're not wrong.
Tell your wife.
So how was your week, fellas? This week has been exciting for me, personally, in terms of the XCC front. I get to watch all the chatter. Then we got all the games this weekend. I luckily didn't have much going on. I'll be honest, I did not get up at 3 a.m. to watch any games at 3 a.m. But I did get to watch quite a few games on Gold Squadron and on the X-Wing Debrief, both of those networks. So hopefully all of you had a good weekend and were able to catch a few games.
Was not able to catch any games though, unfortunately. How about you, Charles?
I caught a couple. I caught Fun Walk versus Ollie this afternoon, which was a really good game. I like watching Ollie play. His play style is quite different than mine. So watching him play a lot. I got to watch him at the Worlds when he won. So I really, really enjoy that play style. Like I said, it's a lot different than mine. So being able to see something like that is fun. I forget who the other game was, but I only got to catch two of them. It's been a busy day for me. So.
Well, awesome. That's good news. It's exciting. Tonight we have new reveals. So, I don't know if you're excited. I know I'm excited. I purposely not played First Order almost at all in the last month, just so that when they drop the new releases here in September, I'll be super excited for it. And I'll do nothing but play FO. You guys are going to hate playing against me because all I'm going to spend my time doing is playing FO. I'll be like Charles and Scum. Except for
it's no different than you and CIS now.
Oh, I don't want to hear that. We played a game today, sir. We did. And I did not play CIS. I played Soontir Darth Vader. So
and barely won. That was a close game.
Barely won. I actually didn't think I won that game. I was like, I gave up at the end of that one. But yeah, I somehow pulled out that game for, I don't know, 10 points or something like that. Was that? Against Brobots.
Close to there, yeah. Yeah, Brobots are a lot of fun. One of my favorite lists.
I've been thinking about playing those more often. They look like a lot of fun. I mean, especially if you put them right together the right way, right?
Yeah, I mean, Charles mine were heavy. They were 99. I was gonna say mine were 99 points each.
It's pretty much the way to do it, right? Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Isn't that the way to do it, though, Charles?
I mean, you can. The other way that I've seen them built out pretty strong is to build light, where you can fit 3 in there. Because you can fit 3 with the title and a few toys, and then all 3 of them share pilot abilities. You get a lot of fun, out of that. But you know what I mean. Outside of that, it was fun. The one I ran today was just 2 with all the toys. So
yeah.
Either way,
interesting. Yeah,
it was fun. I think Charles thought I was going to run a CIS list when I messaged him, I was like, hey, I want to play a game. I don't know what else to do with my time other than stare at the screen anyway. We might as well play a game. And then I was like, I got to break out. I tried to mimic John's Vader Soontir list, but I couldn't remember. But I ran shield upgrade, stealth device on Soontir. So he was a very fat Soontir. He's 75 points Soontir. and then I ran Vader with Prockets, which I was able to get off like round or engagement round 2.
Yeah.
Ooh,
But it didn't do much. Like, I mean, it took him. It took his shields down, but that was about it. I couldn't do a lot of damage after that. I was spending most of my time just running from him.
I ran I ran the bot that when you did a sloop, you could change it into a hard or a K turn. And then the bot that if you missed a shot, you could get a double tap cannon. Both of them had ion and auto blasters. Both of them had elusive. Both of them had shield upgrade. So lots of fun and options. I had FTC. So I used that to counteract the free evade that Defender Vader got by going fast. So it was a fun match.
Yeah. Sounds interesting. Did you end up losing then, Chris, or winning, or who won?
I thought I lost. I almost actually gave up and conceded.
I was gonna say he lost until the very last engagement, and then he was able to land 1 damage through that gave him half on my other bot, and that put him up in points.
My Vader
love
Defender,
when it's like a 1-point game, like literally 1 hit point game.
Yeah, I outmaneuvered his Brobot. He came in strong with him, and thinking that I would, for the block, right, and then he wins the game. I did the 1 bank, and then I barrel rolled. So I didn't have an evade token, but I wasn't an arc, so I didn't need one. I have never in my life done a 1 bank maneuver with a defender ever.
That doesn't seem like a very common maneuver.
It's literally the first time in my whole career of flying defenders I've ever done that.
Fair enough.
Well, with that being said, let's talk about the new ships, shall we?
Sure.
I'm excited for them. I don't know about you, but I'm excited for them. So we're going to bring up the dreaded TIE Bomber. Oh, come on. Where's the put me in dad jail? That was a dad joke.
That was a dread. Yeah, hashtag dad joke.
Anyway, Dread is the first pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, you want to read Dread for us?
Yeah. After you reload, each ship in your bullseye arc gains 1 deplete token. Is a Dread. And then, of course, it has pursuit thrusters, which during the system phase you may perform a boost action.
Yeah. So now, my question is, Charles.
Yo.
If you think about this, you're going to give everybody in your bullseye a deplete token, right? After you reload. But if you reload, you get a disarm token, don't you?
Correct.
Depending, because there are some upgrades that will allow you to switch out the disarm for a stress to be able to shoot or something like that if you can get rid of it. But, I mean, if you're thinking of it lore-wise, if you're taking your gunner out to reload your munitions, then you're not shooting anyway. But for whatever reason with the ship, it makes everybody else less likely to hit you because you're assigning a deplete token to them, which makes them throw 1 less red die.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have not seen an upgrade that I could think of for FO, and if somebody watching or if anybody else knows of one, I'll be happy if they do that. Because I mean, we have that in Empire with those alpha class expensive ships where you want the disarm token to be able to fire your missiles or your cannons. So if they do that for First Order, that's pretty exciting. That would be a pretty exciting upgrade.
I'm curious if they do something like that with like some sort of like what do they call it, like a title or something like that, or a configuration. Would be interesting.
I mean, because think about it this way: if they did that ship, I mean, I guess it being in the bullseye, right? Like that's not going to get off every turn. Like this is more of a nice to have type thing, right? So it's not going to get off very often, I don't think. You are an I3, so you're. I guess it's after you maneuver you would reload. So I guess as long as you can maneuver and put a ship in bullseye, you're fine. But an I3 has a higher probability of doing it to begin with because it doesn't have to be during system phase, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't see it as being a super common thing, honestly. And you have to take the reload action, right? So you can't take like a barrel roll, Well, you could you do barrel roll reload? No, I don't think so. Right?
You do
No, you can
reload,
do
evade.
evade. Right. So you could at least do an evade, but still, you couldn't reposition afterwards. Is what I'm trying to say. Right? You could do the pre-position during the system phase, but then you'd have to know. Yeah, I agree with Masked TMT. He's saying this may not see a lot of play. I agree. I don't know. I don't know. The only one that Tirani, is that what it is? Tirani Colda that basically has that bullseye. It's like a low rent Tirani, but I'm not sure on this one. I don't know.
Personally, I'm not sold on it either. If it's just me. Now, one thing I think we missed when we originally initiated the ship, I didn't realize this, but they have a barrel roll to target lock action. That's like identical to the droid bombers. So I did not know that until I actually just looked at the ship. I was like, oh look, they have that. I don't know. So
interesting action bar on this one too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, definitely different. I like the design space. I like that they're trying for something different. But of course, I'm more excited about the TIE Whisper. But that's me. All right. The next upgrade, which is not faction specific, is Electro Shafe missiles. Charles, you want to read that for us?
I absolutely do. So with the Electro Chafe missiles, during the system phase, you may spend a charge from this card to launch one Electro Chaff Cloud using the 3 bank or 4 straight template, much akin to what you do with Discord missiles, except Discord's a 3 bank and 3 straight, I believe, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
And then place 1 fuse marker on it. The card's charge cannot be recovered. To piggyback into this, from AMG's page, that they can confirm that the Electro Chaff Cloud has the following effects. While a ship is at range 0 of the Electro Chaff Cloud, it cannot be locked, jammed, or coordinated by other ships. After a ship moves through or overlaps an Electro Chaff Cloud, it skips its perform action step, so just like a gas cloud. But then it gains 1 jam token and breaks all locks on it. And while a ship defends, if the attack is obstructed by the Electro Chaff Cloud, it does roll 1 additional defense die. The only thing that I am unsure of, and I am not 100% sure, the charge, the fuse marker. Does that mean
I don't understand
that alludes to that this comes off the board? So maybe the fuse token leaves it on play, and then the second round the fuse token goes without the fuse token to keep it in play. It dissolves and leaves play.
I don't know. We'll have to.
So that it's not permanent on the map. It's not.
Yes.
I haven't been able to find anything clarified on it, but that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Probably a 1 turn, 2 turn thing.
Yeah,
I guess.
Well, and my belief, I think you're right, Charles. My belief is that it has to be that. Like, there is no way that it can't be, because look at the rig cargo chute. It drops a debris field, right? We know what a debris field does. They don't have anything special. It just sits there. The only thing I could think of is that, the only thing I could think of is like the new missile that they have, the tracking missile that they have in Scum for big ships. This somewhat feels a little bit similar to it, especially like with the movement of it. You know, how you can shoot it out and, you know, where that missile lands. So I'm going to have to tend to agree that the probability is if you can't keep fuse markers on it, it's gone. But it is an object, though. From what you said, I believe that identifies it as an object, right? So it will be a cloud that, you know, if people land on it, they can land on it. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to use struts on it. I think it's going to be fine depending on how they defined it, right? I can't use struts on gas clouds, but I can use them on debris. But
yeah, I'm not sure on that one if that's going to be, because it's like a missile, I think, right? Because it's like chaff. It's basically like a chaff pile. I'm not sure that's like, I mean, I don't know. Not sure that that's a landable thing, but I'm curious. There's going to be a ruling, obviously.
So then let me have 2 minutes real quick. And I only say this just because I'm a little excited about this for droids, right? Because the hyena bombers, I believe, can take this. Pretty sure they can. Certain hyena bombers. I know there's other ships that can take it too, but I know for a fact hyena bombers can take it, right?
Yeah, HMP and most hyena bombers is my understanding.
Probably.
So,
and a few other bombers.
If I shoot this out, right, and it has the fuse marker on it, I can throw my droid, 1 or 2 droids, directly in that cloud. Now, I'm going to lose any tokens I have, but it will kill any locks. It will act as an obstruction, and it doesn't affect my calculate tokens.
Well, you have a jam token, right? You get a jam token, so it will affect your jam.
No, because if you are in the cloud, you lose all jam tokens.
Right, but if you fly into it and land on it, you gain 1. So does that mean that by landing on it, you gain 1 from landing on it, and then it's immediately removed since you can't be jammed?
Yeah, because it says while a ship at range 0 of an Electro strafe cloud, it cannot be locked, jammed, or coordinated. So the jam token doesn't exist. Again, we'll need somebody like a D to to give us a little bit better of a real ruling on it.
Yep.
But according to what you read from the AMG site, because I think they actually commented on their Facebook post or their Twitter post, one of the two. Because Site J is actually the one that brought that to my attention.
Yeah, interesting.
So I'm wagering that this is going to create for droids at least. And again, this shit better be expensive. Like we have an Electro Proton Bomb that's freaking like 13 points. Like this has to be like 8 to 10 points, no matter what. The deal becomes though is if my droid can land on it, and my droid can sit on this cloud, I can still use my network calculates because there is that's a gain effect, and there is no jam token on me. So unless somebody rules otherwise, I'm gonna shoot that damn thing, let it land right directly on the droids, and I lose all my tokens, but I won't be able to shoot Discord missiles, but I'll be able to use modified attacks. So, and it's gonna protect the droids. Do we?
Just so you know, I did check anything that has the word disarm on it. There is nothing currently in FO that allows you to get rid of the disarm token,
I don't think so.
except for Hollow, and Hollow can't carry these missiles. So,
no.
All right.
Interesting.
So, Charles, are you going to be excited to run this with what's that ship in Scum that Captain Nim? Because can Captain Nim run this? No.
The only Scum ship currently that has those 2 slots available is a fire spray.
Oh man, that sucks.
The Y-wing.
But okay, hold on.
So.
Can Captain Nim?
Y-wing has to be able to, because every other Y-wing has the ability to. Am I wrong?
Well, now I have to double check. To the YASB. Hold on, just a moment.
I'm right here right now. Hold on.
I can bring it up on the screen if you want.
Sorry. Payload and
torpedo, not missile.
Torpedo, not missile.
They do not have a missile upgrade. I believe the only ship Scum-wise that has a missile and a torpedo is the fire spray. I do not think that the Skurg. The Skurg has payload and payload. It doesn't have any munitions upgrade at all.
All right.
Not the Quadrajet either.
So can Captain Nim hold a cloud? Can he hold somebody else's bomb?
No, it's maybe. I think it's friendly.
So. I think it's friendly.
Hold on.
A friendly. Yep.
I think it's friendly.
It's a friendly.
Double check.
It's friendly.
Before a friendly bomb or mine. Well, it's bomb or mine. So if this is not classified as a bomb or a mine, if it's its own special thing, then no, Nim has no effect on it because it's a missile.
I say it's not likely to be.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because I believe they categorize it as an object, is what I heard. So.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is going to activate those object cards and stuff too. Then.
This is exciting for CIS. So.
It looks like it's more. Yeah, I don't know. That's going to be interesting. Looks like another thing CIS can carry. Crazy.
Well, FO bombers will be able to carry this too, so they'll have some competition. All
I
right.
was gonna say, can rebel bombers carry it too, or is it another torpedo?
I don't know. Let's look. Because the bigger question is going to be if the new resistance bombers can, or resistance Y wings. So no, the Y wing is a torpedo and payload.
Yep. So torpedo
And
again, huh? Not missiles, huh?
What's another bomb carrier that might have missiles?
I think maybe the
Well, not the
Empire
Falcon.
bomber. TIE.
You know what? Somebody gave me
Rebels are
notes.
X-Wing, Empires are TIE Punisher and TIE FA Bomber.
Yeah, the
Scum
TIE
and
bomber
Fire
can.
Spray. The Resistance Y-Wing can if they have the wartime configuration. FO, the new FO bomber. Republic has no one that can run it, and Separatists just have HMP and some
Some of the
hyena
hyenas.
bombers.
Yep, the K-Wing can too in Rebels.
Interesting.
Yeah, Rebel K-Wing is the only ship that can that I'm aware of.
I'm still excited. I'm not quite as excited because I was actually kind of hoping to have this in Scum to be able to use with Captain M, but that's just me. All right. The next card that we were given is First Order Ordnance Tech. And this card essentially says the First Order trains its pilots and gunners to be fanatically loyal, prioritizing victory even over survival. And it comes with a white reload to target lock. Now, it's a white target lock.
Awesome.
That is pretty good. So
white
again,
reload too.
Doesn't this kind of push us into thinking there's an upgrade that will let us shoot while we're disarmed? I mean, this really has to lend to that.
Not. If so, then you're going to be looking at, just saying. Think about that. Being able to white reload, remove the disarm, and have a lock. That's painful. Because think about APTs, think about your proton torpedoes. I don't know. I think you're going into danger zone if you're going to give it free reign. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
And it might. I don't know. I find this one, depending on the point cost, if this is like a 3 to 5 point upgrade, I think this is okay for those bombers because before you're taking a reload to red evade action, now I'm going to take a reload to target lock. I don't know. It's weird though, right? This is definitely weird.
I look at the TIE SF. That's squarely where I look at when I see this because now you have SFs that can carry a missile that they can reload and gain a target lock. So you have a TIE fighter that now has the ability that they previously, or no, they did. SFs had target locks, but it was target lock to rotate. So now they have two separate target lock actions that are linked, and this is white reload to white target lock. So there's no stress to doing this. So you have an SF that can reload their ordnance, plus take a target lock, so when they do their K turn the next round, they're set up to be able to fire that ordnance that they just reloaded. So
yep, that's huge. That to me is big. You're right. I'm 100% behind you with that one, Charles. Take the turn off to give yourself a reload. Think of how many times I've run those, Chris, where I ran out of ordnance because I couldn't have anything. But now not only can I just literally take a turn off to turn, where I know I'm not going to be there, I can take a reload and a lock, and then the next turn, come right back in, and now I can focus instead of locking, which is huge.
Yep.
Well, I still think there might be a card out there, but I don't know. So I guess we'll find out. In a
not
month.
Everything is. I was gonna say not everything has been spoiled yet. So who knows what we'll see?
Yeah, because I know for a fact there is an illicit, and I don't know. Did we cover did they release the new illicit? Because in one of the pictures I saw an illicit.
Charles was really excited about the illicit that came out.
Okay, so then maybe there is
one that allows you to. There's one that allows you to replenish a charge that I wanted to use with That I wanted to use with Java just to see how many times I could get it off, but I don't think it's going to be a serious contender for playability.
Right. Yeah, that one, that whatever one you're talking about, that with the Java interaction.
overtune modulators, I think is what it was.
There you go.
Something like that.
Okay, so they maybe they don't have anything, and this is just going to be a sad. We get to reload and target lock and run away. Not my play style, I'll be honest. So
Yeah, not a huge fan either, but it does look very useful. I would love it on an SF, especially the SFs I like to swarm.
all right.
Agreed.
So let's move into something else then. How about that? and I do agree. I don't want to downplay the the SFs at all, as I do think those SFs can be really, really, really good. I don't think they've seen much live play, right? But or top table play, I guess we should say. But I do, excuse me, I do find it exciting to be able to give them a new option. Because think about running like a one whisper with a couple of bombers or something like that. I don't know. Don't know.
Curious
All
when
right.
it comes out. It'll be interesting to see what we can do with it.
Shall we do what turns my dials?
Sure, let's dive down that rabbit hole.
All right. So today, for what churns my dials, Atomic Mass Games released a statement, and this is not any news. I'm sure everybody else has covered this already, and we're not going to actually go into what this means for the X-Wing game or anything else, or what this means for Armada, because what churns my dials is a little bit different today. But they released a statement that says, as of 2022 and beyond, we are excited to continue supporting Star Wars Armada by prioritizing reprints of existing products and organized play initiatives. However, we do not have any new Armada products in development, and we will provide additional information as it becomes available. Now, with that being said, what turns my dials is that AMG has given us pretty much no information about anything new that hasn't been developed by FFG. Nothing at all. And we used to complain about FFG quite a bit when it came to issues that they had with communication. And I was upset originally because I kind of feel that this is them taking this weird backseat to the game and not wanting to commit, right? What really turns my dials, though, and this comes from when I watched the Marvel Champions, which FFG does still support, this week. They're releasing content, again, that was developed last year, stuff that they're just now going to be kicking out. They're having all sorts of delay issues, too, and stuff like that. Same way with X-Wing and all the other ships, right? We're seeing delays. But what turns my dials is the fact that FFG, as shitty as they are, actually openly said on their stream, do not worry, we are developing other stuff. We can't tell you what it is, and moved on. Now, when AMG wants to actually come out and say that, which they haven't yet, and this right here, that image right there, openly indicates they are officially not developing 1 out of 3 games they were given. Let's just have the transparency and honesty, right? If you're struggling to get developers, if you're struggling to learn the game, to understand the game, if you're struggling for any of this crap, that's okay. That's 100% acceptable. But open and honest communication and not treating this like it's just a product you make money on, that's what turns my dials. Because they have been open about all their Marvel Crisis Protocol shit, but here they haven't been able to tell us, hey, by the way, you're getting this, right? There was rumors of a Razor Crest well before they announced it on their stream at the beginning of the year. There was. They officially confirmed we're getting one. We don't know when, but it feels like what they're doing is milking what FFG gave them and not bothering to communicate to the rest of us. And what's happening is you create a division and you create dissension amongst people. And yes, we could continue to go on and love the game. We could continue to play the game. But wouldn't it be better if we knew that in the next 2 years, you're getting set content We're not developing anything else, and we only have plans to continue for organized play and reprinting other ships, and maybe tweaking some of the issues some of those ships have. Right? Okay, I can accept that. That's unacceptable. That statement is an honest statement that they've given. And what bothers me the most is they haven't bothered to say anything about X-Wing. Now, some of this comes from me being a new X-Wing player, right? I've only been playing for, I don't know, Matt, we've almost 2 years now. Not even 2 years. I've invested a lot of money in this. I enjoy the competitive scene. I enjoy all the people I've met along the way. I enjoy, hanging out and doing this all the time. What I don't enjoy is when companies want to be shisty about things. And again, they don't have to tell us what they're developing. They don't even have to tell us how much they're developing. They just have to give the indication that they're going to be developing something to give us a little bit of hope. A little bit of hope that we're going to get something past what FFG created. Your guys' thoughts? Tanner ran over.
Okay, so I'm gonna quickly address what 5x5 just said. And he's right. So I hear what you're saying, and I do understand. But what I'm seeing out of AMG, regardless of where they came from, right, where these products came from, I am seeing product releases for X-Wing. We're talking about it. We literally just got done talking about it. But I'm liking that they're talking about organized play still for Armada, which is nice. They did just, I think Armada just had released right before the whole AMG FFG switchover that there were weren't there the two factions that were released, the Separatist and I believe Separatist and I want to say Republic were released,
So, yeah.
I believe, for Armada. So I I'm happy that they are continued to do organized play, which is good, because when the organized play goes away, we all know that that's when things start to happen. They're reprinting some of their old stuff, which is good. So at least what they're saying is they may not be releasing new stuff, but they are continuing to hold on to the IP and to support the community that's around it, even if it's not something that they're moving forward with. As for X-Wing, though, I'm happy to see that they may not be doing organized play just yet, but they are doing releases. We do have ships coming out. We have new pieces of the game coming out, brand new ships, all the way brand new ships, regardless of where the development for them came from. At this point in time, AMG is part of the releasing crew, right? They are the people releasing it. Am I wrong, or is that correct?
Well, you're wrong, because they got rid of most of the FFG crew. They took on people from FFG, and then they fired them. Right. They're all gone.
Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the ships themselves are being released by AMG, or is it being released by FFG still? Whose name is on the box, Chris? Is what I'm asking, basically.
I think, I don't know. I'll be honest, I don't know, because I have not looked at the box.
Yeah, see, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, we are still getting new stuff, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm hoping that there's going to be more of a thing, but I'm still seeing stuff coming out. So, I mean, I'm holding out hope, I guess, is my best way of saying that. And I get why you're upset. I'm not trying to decrease from that anger. It makes sense to me there too, but I'm like kind of like in this, like, I'm hoping that it's not as bad as it could be. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You're hoping.
So sure. Here's my thing, and I'll lay into what you said, and then I'll take away from what you said a little bit. So a few things that I've seen as far as argument points on this topic online that I feel support your feelings is that instead of what we've been used to, right, with the way FFG released products up until they switched over to AMG, was instead of picture leaks of 1 to 2 pictures, something like that, via a Facebook page, we had all become accustomed to some sort of a write-up where we got like 5 or 6 different cards. We got pilots that were spoiled and all of this, and it was like a full write-up on that individual ship. And it was on FFG's X-Wing page. There is no AMG X-Wing page. The AMG page, when you go to it, is almost explicitly reserved for Crisis Protocol. Now, I have nothing against that. That's their bread and butter. Good for it. Support the game that brought you. I'm fine with it. But it doesn't bode well when there is no mention of your support for a game that was handed to you with an existing play community. It's not something you had to build from the ground up. There's nothing there. So I do feel that same dread there when I look at the overall experience. However, on the flip side of that, when I look at what I know about Armada, and I will come on record and say that admittedly, it's kind of low because I've only played like maybe 2 or 3 games total. Those games took forever. There isn't really a competitive Armada scene. And my understanding is, as far as the rule set, the ships and everything, it's pretty much a complete game. Like, there's not a whole lot more that you are able to do for it. So continuing to support the existing culture as it exists, while saying, hey, we're not going to be developing anything new, might be them just admitting, hey, there's nothing new to develop for this. Now, I don't know how accurate that statement is because, again, I don't play Armada. I play X-Wing. I'm hoping the fact that X-Wing has a competitive scene, but and again, I could be wrong, I don't remember there being an Armada World Championship. I don't remember Armada having any sort of like a major play at FFG headquarters, even when FFG was the one producing the game.
They did.
Did they have a world championship? Because I don't remember. I remember them having world championships for all of their card games, and I remember there being a world championship for X-Wing. I don't remember being one for Armada. Just personally, I don't remember it. But I don't think that I'm willing to jump onto the bandwagon of X-Wing is dead because Armada is dead. Do I feel like they could... I agree with you that I feel like they could do a better job of communication. Do I feel like they have waded into the end of the pool that they've never been in before because they were able to build Crisis Protocol, you know what I mean, from the ground up. So they built their own community, whereas X-Wing came with expectations. Right? The X-Wing community came with, this is what we're used to and this is what we want. And I honestly don't know. I hope that X-Wing has a long shelf life as they continue to pump out television shows, as they continue to pump out movies, as they continue to do what they're doing. There is unlimited potential to continue to add and grow the game. And I hope that it continues to grow for a very long time. Do I know that that is the case? I don't. And I hope that AMG does not shelf it like they did Armada, amongst other games. I hope that AMG takes that ball and runs and improves the gameplay.
Yep. And my point, and the reason...
But again, this all could be... Sorry, Chris, I don't mean to step on you. I had another thought and I lost it in the back of my head, so I apologize. This all could be completely negated next week. Is it next week when they do their stream-a-thon or whatever it is, where they announce like the next coming stuff 2 weeks from now? So this could all be answered in 2 weeks. They could come onto the stream and go, you know what, we're sorry about the communication issue. You guys have been heard. Here is what we're doing going forward, yada, yada, yada. And they solve everything on that stream. Do I know that's what's going to happen? No. I hope that's what's going to happen, but maybe we see them fix everything that we need to.
And again, just to reiterate the point, and this is a little bit of a thing, and I come from a previous FFG card game, right? And FFG has done almost identically to Star Wars Destiny as what they did to Armada. Almost identical, other than they did not move the house. But they actually took every developer that they had for Star Wars Destiny and didn't tell anybody, and then moved them to other FFG games. And so while we were sitting around waiting for content, and they would just kind of go, yeah, we got more stuff coming. oh, we've got these delayed releases, this and that. They literally were milking us for our money. That's what they did. That's what FFG did. And what bothers me is when FFG will come out and say, Marvel Champions, we have new stuff in development. We're never going to tell you what it is or how long it's going to take, but we're doing that. That could be a bold-faced lie, but the probability of that is pretty low, right? And that's where AMG has failed. And I'm going to say this. AMG has failed and has not delivered. There is not a deliverable. And I get, yeah, we are getting ships, but all these ships were designed by other people. The stuff that they're putting out, and like you said, they don't have good articles. The stuff they're putting out is shameful compared to what we used to get. And what we used to get was horrible. You know, like, I mean, yeah. Like we did have that. Now, I won't say that the game's dead because of that. Even if they stop releasing ships, doesn't mean we still can't have OP. We have seen the community rally around and actually do OP. We have seen different things happen. You can design new cards without having new ships very easy. You can design new pilots very easily. This game can live on. But the difference is, and this is what pissed everybody off in Destiny, is that FFG literally screwed the pooch so hardcore with people that they literally lost the fan base for anybody that wanted to continue this game onward. They have a continuing community, but they don't. They're minimal. They're small. Now, X-Wing's a lot bigger than Destiny is, I think. At least I think they are. I'm guessing they are. Because otherwise they would have gotten rid of X-Wing a long time ago. But the problem I have, and again goes back to really solely just the communication. And all it is I say, AMG, why don't you step up, put your big pants on, and actually just be honest with us about what's going on. If you got rid of all the developers, okay, fine. That's okay. Just tell us. That's all I'm saying. So that's what churns my dials, is the fact that they're refusing to communicate in any way, shape, or form about actual, true new content.
And I will jump on your bandwagon here, as I have given up a certain aspect that I used to love, in that when FFG went live on Twitch or on YouTube or wherever they went live, I almost always checked to see what game was being played, because they always played games, right? They worked with companies like, there was a second party creator that did like templates for X-Wing, Team Covenant, that had, aftermarket stuff for X-Wing, and they always got, some release stuff, but there was always something going on. And whenever FFG went live on Twitch, I tuned in to see what was going on. I gave the same benefit of the doubt to AMG until every time they went live was not actually playing a game. Every time they went live was just painting. And while I can respect the art, I can respect the craft, no hate on anyone that paints ships or minis in any way, shape, or form, I got into X-Wing because the ships are already painted. I got into X-Wing because there's no effort. I open the pack and I play. And so for me, every time they go live, it's painting. I just don't even tune in anymore.
Yep.
Unless they preempt it and say, hey, we're going to talk about, or we're going to play X-Wing tonight, which has not, to my knowledge, happened since they took the product. They play Marvel Crisis Protocol. I don't know, Psych J. That's the thing. I have only ever seen the live AMG Twitch stream paint ships, except for when they do like their stream-a-thons where they want to talk about. And to be fair, the last one we had for that, the last stream-a-thon, was where they talked about the crew packs that we've got.
Sure.
I'll jump on the bandwagon with Dion in them, right, from GSP. If you don't understand the game, that's fine. If you want to learn how to play the game, let us know. Contact somebody. We have a community.
Right.
Contact GSP. Right. Contact Hexiled. Contact Fly Better. We'll meet you somewhere. Syndicate. Yep. Contact us. Exactly. It doesn't gotta be. We don't need it to be on record. I'll CIA this nonsense and say that it never happened. if you want to
Right. We
learn
can
the
NDA
game,
it. It's fine. It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
exactly.
You can
I'm
reach out to
trying
the
to,
community, right? So,
yeah,
and that's
like
the
let
other
us
thing
know.
too. I
We're
mean,
here to
obviously
help.
they know how to play the game, and they can figure out how to play the game. I mean, I don't. I think that it's less about playing the game. I mean, there is a lot of complexity. Let's be fair. That's part of the reasons why we all play this game is the layers of
Mhm.
complexity and the interactions and stuff like that too. But
Agreed.
the thing that I'm seeing though is like I don't understand why they can't take more ownership in this project. Now, what they might be doing, and just straight up, they might be working on setting up a team, right? We don't know. We're not on the inside there, right? They might be putting together people who are on a team who are going to run this, but because of the pandemic, it is a possibility that they haven't had a chance to yet put forward the team. Maybe there isn't a community team yet. Maybe there isn't an internal team. I'm not trying to say that that's the answer, but it is a possibility, right? Like it is a possibility that they just are still putting together this team, this crew, right? Because it did all happen during the pandemic. And as everybody can attest, things are still getting put back together, and with the Delta variant, I mean, even things that were getting put back together are starting to fall apart again. So, I mean, I don't want to, I'm not trying to say that, but what I am trying to say is that may be a little bit of a hiccup for them. That's all. And again,
Sure.
I'm not
And I'm
trying to
100%.
give them an out at all. They should
Right.
have something available. They should have acted before now, too. Sorry,
Well,
didn't
my thing
mean.
is, and no, and I'm right there with you, 100% there with you. I don't think that we should expect, oh, here's your OP announcement, right? We don't know what's happening with the world from one day to the next. You know, 3 months ago, we looked like everything was going back to normal, right? The world, our local game stores started opening back up. We started having regular game nights again. We weren't wearing masks anymore because the vaccine was there, and that might be just Florida. I don't know because we're crazy here. But that being said, you know what I mean? I'm not expecting OP announcement. All we're asking for is communication. Post
Right.
something on your
Yeah.
Facebook page.
Right.
Make a thing. Hey, we're still working on X-Wing. We still want to do OP. Here is where we're at. Give us a state of the union address every once in a while. We even if it's just a points update. We haven't had a points update since they took over.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
Even if it's just a points
yeah.
update. So
Yeah, I
it's
am
like Jay.
completely with
It's
you.
like
Yeah,
Jay.
I'm literally
I
responding
get my
right
dice
now to
crapped
him.
out regularly. That's right, Psych Jay. I agree.
Oh, dude, the ghosts are real. Like Chris totally has his own dice that he keeps for this whole thing. No, and 5x5 was saying earlier too in chat, and 100% behind you there too, right? And I'm a big proponent of especially these game designers and especially people that have been doing this for a long time. Like, why are we removing their jobs, right? And it is a big concern, but maybe they were paid too much. I don't know. It's hard, doing business stuff. Maybe there isn't an actual market yet for them, or I don't know. There could be other
The
reasons, but
only
yes, it is. It's
from a
true that
business
they really only
standpoint,
have themselves to blame, right?
yeah.
But yeah, the
Unless
IP is so
the only thing
expensive.
that the only thing I can think of, yeah, for sure. The only thing that I can think of that would draw the need to eliminate a position that previously existed is redundancy. Now, again, I don't know AMG's
Yeah,
corporate structure. I don't know if John Smith at
right.
AMG already given the X-Wing IP and he's running with it in silent and they just went, Steve
Mhm,
Jobs, we don't need you to run this, so go do your thing.
mhm.
I don't know. But that when you
Right.
absorb an entire IP that has existed for close to a decade, I think is it a decade?
I think it's 6
2000.
years, but 2.0 is what 3 or 4 years now. 3 years,
Right,
I
but
think.
still,
Yeah.
we're approaching a 10-year lifespan for a miniatures game. When you have that big of a fan base, like if you're going to get rid of the people that we know, the faces that we know, you need to replace them with
Right.
faces that we can get to know.
Right. Yeah.
right? If you're going to get rid of Steve, and Steve has been beloved to the X-Wing community, that's fine.
Yeah.
It sucks for Steve, but I get it. It's business, right? That's what happens. But then we
Right.
need John to step in and be like, "Hi guys, I'm the new
Mhm.
Steve," and step up and play that game.
Right. Yeah, and I guess I'm like kind of going on the whole resistance thing, right? So my whole thing is I'm hoping. I mean, I see exactly what you guys are saying. I understand exactly what you mean. There's all these cracks that could be there, but I'm just, I guess I'm holding out hope, if that makes sense, right? As we play this game, as we enjoy it, I just want it to continue, and I'm hoping that standing here on my side of the screen, if I can just hope hard enough, maybe that everything will be all right. Yes.
Well, I stopped believing in hope a long time ago. But we do have some hope, right? We have some hope because we're going to go over the results for the X-Wing Team Championship. So I apologize to switch gears. I just think we've exhausted it. There's not much. Again, I guess we're going to have to stand by Matt and just hope. I guess that's what we're going to have to do. We get to hope. But I get to continue to be critical because that's the type of person I am.
Vote Sparkly
What did I
Vampire.
say? Sparkly Vampire.
I was
All
just
right.
playing her.
So, this weekend was the finals, and if you had not known, there was a prediction that people could fill out. If you, I don't know where they posted the form. Honestly, don't know where I got it, but they had a form where you could put your predictions in. So final results were so close it's not even funny. We had Italy 7-2, USA 7-2, and Singapore 7-2. And they all came down to individual game wins. Oops, wrong window. So the reason Italy won is because they had one more game win than the US did.
And big shout out, real quick, big shout out to the man with the plan who did everything he could to load our entire country's dreams of an XTC championship and carry him square on his shoulder. Big shout out to Marcel Manzano for going undefeated in all of his individual final round games, doing everything he could to try and carry us to that first place victory.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe it. With his list, he went 9-0. So that's how good of a player he is, because that list cannot be that amazing that it goes 9-0. But maybe it is. It's something we've never seen. We can get to his list actually.
But that's the thing. Yeah, and that's something that I've said about X-Wing since the day I started playing it. Is with games like, say, Magic the Gathering and other games, if I build my deck exactly like the World Championship deck, it's an odds engine, right? That's what a card game is. It's an odds engine of drawing your win condition cards. Your odds are the same with me playing it as they are with World Championship, because the deck of cards is exactly the same. With X-Wing, there are so many positional variables, dice variants, remembering triggers, trying to plan for what your opponent is going to do. There's so many variables that even if you're flying the same list that, Timo flew for his World Championship run, or that Marcel flew for his, his regional championship run, or whatever for his XTC undefeated, I could pick this list up and go bomb and just crap the bed with a list that he went undefeated with, because it is a lot about your skill and your understanding with that overall list as well. So I agree. This list, if I flew it, I don't know that I could do anything with it. And for those who are asking, his list was Obi-Wan in the Ada 2 with Sense, Auto Blasters, Stealth Device, Marksmanship, and R7A7, which is the crit bot. Rick Olay in the Naboo Royal N1 Starfighter with Daredevil, R2 Astromech, and Advanced Sensors. And then Anakin Skywalker in the Naboo N1 Starfighter with Intimidation, R2 Astromech, Collision Detector, and Advanced Proton Torpedoes. Commonly referred to, thanks to Marcel, as the baby master. Letting him get in, block to remove, basically treating him as an outmaneuver stub. So anyone that bumps into him, it loses an evade die. With that collision detector, he can spend a charge to ignore rocks, so he can just fly through and get blocks crazily. Lots of interesting play, and so you know what I mean. I would not do well with this list. This is 3 paper airplanes, 3 very fragile ships that if you make one mistake, they are very unforgiving. But he played it well. He went undefeated in 6 or 7 rounds, Chris?
9.
No, excuse
9
me.
rounds.
Sorry, 9 rounds. Holy God.
Holy
I could
man.
not imagine doing 9 rounds in a day. Woo.
They split it up over 2 days. That's why.
Oh,
They did 2
okay.
days.
That's a lot better. that's a,
But even
that's
then,
a lot better.
Still though.
Yep.
And I agree with you though. Those N1s too. Those are 2 defensive die ships. That's crazy.
Yep. It's like an Alpha Strike style list, right? That's really what this is. This is an aggressive Alpha Strike list that, like you said, Annie can come in, get his blocks, get off his missiles, do his regen. Rick does Rick things, because you know how Rick is. And LB flanks and goes around and murders people. That crit bod is usually seen on Anakin, but then you couldn't run Annie in the N1. So
Baby Annie, yep, exactly. Mm-hmm. So Psych J from the
all right,
chat.
so we have
apparently when they make a movie about Team USA, Shia LaBeouf has to play Marcel Manzano. I love it. Oh,
yeah. So
that
look
was great.
here's
you.
round 1. Can you guys hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, you're breaking. I can hear you. Yep.
Is mine
Can you
delayed?
hear me? Yeah,
No,
I
it just
can't
sounds
tell.
like you're lagging. Like there's an audio lag.
Yeah.
Chat says they can hear you though.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the deal: that we have round 1, round 2, and round 3. And with these different rounds here, you could kind of see the different, plays. You can see Italy was really strong. England came in strong. Germany came in strong. France came in strong. The U.S. did not do so good round 1. Right? So that's probably some of the little bit there is if you look through the different rounds when they did the different pairings, because they all have to play, it's because it's a team event. That's the big issue right there, right? So you could see through all the different rounds that some of them, the USA came in really strong. Singapore came in roughly around the same. So a lot of these, it's kind of funny. If you look at all of the total points, you had 38, 37, and 36. Even Peru came at 34. So it was a very tight thing all around. Did you guys have anything else for XTC before we move on?
No, I
No?
think that
Okay.
overall the games, I'll be honest with you, I didn't follow it too heavy beyond when we were streaming it, and I really enjoyed being able to stream it. And I caught a couple of games, but just because of the time difference, it was not something that I was able to see as much of it as I would like. But I am proud of everybody that stuck it out and saw that through. It was really cool. So.
Yeah, I'm just wanted
All
to
right.
shout out to all the players. Obviously, grats for everybody keeping, doing the team play out there and getting the organized play still going and keeping out on the tables. I love it. So, grats to all the winners and losers, everybody who played.
That would have been me. I'd have been one of the losers.
Me too.
I think
Okay.
I think we all share that trait, sir.
Yeah. Yay, team loser. Join playing.
All right.
Jason.
So, all right. So for the last portion of what I wanted to go through tonight is I wanted to talk about what makes a good squad and what is a squad type, right? And so the idea here is to talk about different types of squads that you can fly, what each one has the advantage for, what outcomes and what conditions can be provided for each. Because the big thing is, and I wanted to do this after we talked about XTC, because for example, Marcel's list is that aggressive alpha strike type list. He's got a flanker. He's got 2 guys going in. They've got aggressive missiles. They've got big guns that they could throw at you right off the bat, and they can start eliminating team members. So I thought it would be a good idea if we talked about what do we feel makes a good squad, right? And so we'll start with Charles and kind of go to Charles, Matt, and then myself, and just give what do you feel makes a good squad, Charles?
I'm going to caveat this with a question really quick. Thank you, my love. I appreciate it. And that is, are we talking about just lists in general, or are we talking about a competitive list? Because I approach those, and this is just me personally again, I approach them 2 very different ways. If I'm sitting down across from Chris or Matt, I want to play something that I love. I want to play something that I find fun. I don't care if I win or lose, as long as it's enjoyable and I'm able to do some crazy stuff with the list. I like that. If I'm paying $15 to sit down at a tournament, or I'm paying $20 to sit down at a tournament or whatever price, then the list has to be built differently. I still have to enjoy it, but there are different staples that I look for in a list for a competitive play than there are that I look for when I'm just playing around with my friends.
I think you could answer that both ways. How about that? I think that's a viable question on both fronts, right? You know, like I guess how about this? In my opinion, if you're just playing against friends, what makes a good squad? I don't want to talk about building a jank tank type thing, right? You know, like okay, I'm going to run Darth Vader and Soonserfell. It's kind of a joke. I mean, but they both have synergy together. But if I run Darth Vader and then decide I'm going to run like I don't know 2 TIE fighters that have nothing on them, and I give like a 30-point bid. That's just me messing around, right? That's just a mess around squad. That's not actually building a good squad. So I think you can address it on both sides of it, to be honest with you.
Sure. So from a enjoyability standpoint, right, when I look at what I enjoy, I have certain ships, I have certain pilots that I really like. I love Guri. I like Fen Rao. I like Dengar. I am primarily a Scum player. I'm trying to branch out into Republic a little bit more, but primarily I'm a Scum player, so I have certain pilots that I enjoy. I have certain builds that I enjoy with those pilots, but generally speaking, I will pick one ship that I enjoy, and then the rest of it is just, what haven't I played in a while that I think would work well with this list? And then I just start filling in the blanks with what I can points-wise. On the flip side of that, when I go to build a tournament squad, when I go to build a competitive squad, I look at the first thing I do, if I'm being honest, is I go to List Builder. I go to List Fortress. I go to any of those cataloging sites where they are, compiling all of the tournaments, and I look for what the top performing Scum lists are. And then I look at them and go, okay, that's great that worked for somebody else. What doesn't work for me, right? I'm very aware of what my play style is. So what doesn't work for me, and what can I swap that out with? So like for instance, there was that CIS list that ran Zam with General Grievous and a bug or another ship of whatever, like either a drone, a Trade Federation drone, a bomber, an HMP, whatever you could fit in there points-wise. And I love that list, but I don't do well with CIS. It's not familiar to me. So I built a list with the I2 fire spray for Scum, throwing in Fen Rao and then, a backup. I think it was an M3A. I think I put Sarisu in there for the M3A. But I was able to build in the pilots that I like to fly with an archetype that has already been proven to be successful, right? Dual fire sprays is another one. I love dual fire sprays, but I don't want to run Zam Django. I don't want to run, the list that works for everybody else. And this is the downside. It's why I don't place high in tournaments. It's why I don't do well in competitive play. I'm a middle of the road player, sometimes 4-2, but more often than not, I run 3-3. But for me, I want it to be something that I can enjoy and something that fits my play style over fitting the archetype that's going to win. So for me, more than any other thing, it has to be fun. Because if it's not fun, then why am I playing this game? And that's just for me personally. That's how I look at it. That's what I want to look for. So that's how I build my lists.
Fair enough. Matt, what makes a good squad?
Well, so many things. But I guess I'm gonna kind of zero in because it's gonna be a really long podcast otherwise. So, for me, I like to think of a list. Well, obviously, when we're talking about just playing for fun, sometimes I just put things together because I'm curious what it's going to do. Obviously, try something out, try something new, see how it reacts or see how it acts. So sometimes I want to play something just because I've never played it before. So that is one thing I do when we're talking about like casual play. Is kind of playing a ship I've never before or an equivalent, like with Scum, for instance, see if I can get a particular thing to work out. But overall, in general, when we're talking about list building, what I like to try to do, I like to have a plan, build a list towards a plan or towards a type of play or what I would like to do with that list. Like a great example is Marcel's list, right? It's a hit and run kind of list. He has all those advanced sensors. He has a very high alpha. Basically, the point is to go in, do a lot of damage, and get out, and then stay away from them for the rest of the match. Now that's not my style of play, but that's good for instance. To have a group of ships that you have the setup or an idea. Like I'm going to run these ships as a squad. I'm going to run these two together, or this is a synergy squad. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to bounce this focus to this character, and this character is going to focus to that character, or this one's going to do an evade, so this one can have an evade or whatever it may happen to be. But I like to have I wouldn't say like a plan, like a shot for shot style, but an overall overarching idea of what I want to do with my squad, or how I want to fly that squad when I plan the ship building. So I guess that would be kind of my short and sweet.
So in my world, or kind of how I see what makes a good squad, and I think it goes into both sides. Obviously, what is your goal, right? Charles's goal is to always have fun and run scum. That's what Charles has. One goal. He likes to have fun,
wrong.
and he likes to run scum. He insanely loves running scum. Even in random playtest things, he likes to run scum, which is fine. That's what Charles likes. He is missing out on some good droid action, but just saying. In my world, like what makes a good squad is it's the ability to have synergy to meet your end goal, right? So if you run a swarm, your goal is to block, to stop token action, and to focus fire, typically, right? If you're running like an alpha strike, your goal is to get in, get out, and get out. Do your damage. Take a ship to off board. You can half points to ships. You're going to win in the points game. Run away so that people don't touch your ships. Base play is outmaneuver, outmaneuver. So for me, again, what goes into making a good squad is the city around the ability for these ships to be able to take themselves and place themselves in a unique way that allows it to get your end goal. So in Charles's world, right, he likes to have fun. So if he can do the most scummy thing in the world, he has built a good squad in his opinion. Because what else do you do? He just wants to Torkel Mux me and then throw jamming tokens on me and then tractor me onto a rock. That's what he wants to do. Because that's Charles loves that scum interaction, right? Whereas Matt is more of that different. Matt's more of a middle of the road type player where he wants a 4 to 6 ship list roughly. He wants to come in. He wants to have some cool techniques, but he doesn't want to have 70 triggers he has to remember every single time. He wants ships that are similar but not swarmy, that fly similarly without having to be a bunch of swarms. Or just give them aces. One of the two. You can do that too. You can give Matt aces. Matt likes aces too. So Matt likes to outmaneuver you, and then when Matt doesn't outmaneuver you, then he gets pissed. So there you go. But that's the style. Those are the different styles. Whereas I play more swarm. So I think when we talk about what makes a good squad, it's all in the synergy and the style of how your ships get you to the end goal. So, being said, what are some of the examples in your world? Some things that when you are looking to put the scummiest of scum things together, what are you looking to trigger in the different upgrades ships you put in there?
For me, I dig a good alpha strike. Like I really do. If I'm being 100% transparent, I like that good first punch. I like a Ben round with advanced proton torpedoes. I like to knife fight. I want ships that reward me for getting at range 1. I want ships that reward me for being aggressive. I'm not so good at planning where my opponent is going to go. I'm not so good at trying to do that. So having upgrades like the Slave 1 title or Brobots where I can adjust my stupidity based on, you know what I mean, based on what my opponent does. Right? Because we've all planned those moves where I'm like, oh, a 3-bank works great here. And then Chris moves right into where that 3-bank is, and I'm like, crap, that sucks. I wish I could change that. Well, having upgrades that allow me to do that, or having sense, things like that allow me to see what's going to happen so I can plan accordingly are very beneficial. But on the over and under things, for me, I want to throw as many red dice as possible, as many times as I possibly can. I don't like running away. I don't like being dodgy. I like getting in your face and throwing red dice and seeing who can deal the most damage first. That's kind of my goal with just about every list, and I'm sure you guys can attest. You've played against enough of my lists in our fun games. That's generally a pretty solid look when you look at just about any list archetype that I've built or that I've played. They're generally designed to get in a knife fight. I don't do well with bombers or lists that are designed to run away and not be aggressive. So I tend to build my lists specifically there.
Okay. Matt, how about you?
I have a hard time deciding on one thing. For me, I have a tendency to be a bit too eclectic in my playstyle, I guess. Like you said, too. I'm a 4-6 list and happy, or Gases happens. I don't know if I have a particular thing. I do like synergy lists. I also like basic lists that I don't have to remember lots of triggers. Like I said, sometimes it's nice to be able to do a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it's nice to not have to worry about much stuff. For me, it's just about putting pieces on that I think are solid. That's where I like to try to do is have those solid kind of pieces. So if I put together enough solid pieces into my groups and to my different things, I think that probably gives me my strongest play, and also my most fun play is when I feel like I at least have a fighting chance regardless of what's on the board.
Fair enough. In my world, it's usually yeah, absolutely. Because I think it kind of goes into what lends to you building your best squad, right? And that's really what I think it comes down to, because I think that's the largest important piece here is that you're going to have the most success you can have with it, right? All right. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about squad wise? Things you feel compelled to share with the community?
I think that for me, building a list that you're comfortable with is important. And I've said this on previous episodes, the thing that separates someone from top 16 to not top 16, and this is something that I struggle with. And Chris, I'm going to call you out a little bit because you struggle with it just as much as I do. And that is settling on a single list and playing it. Rep after rep after rep after rep. Just playing that list and settling on it. Chris and I have had many discussions up to 3 hours before a tournament starts about what list we're going to run, and neither one of us have settled on a specific list that we want to play or that we know specifically what we're going to do, or we'll settle on a list and we'll play it, and then with 5 hours left, we'll start tweaking something to try and make it better rather than just leaving it well enough alone. And the reality of the situation is making sure that you build a list that you're comfortable with and that you are comfortable against all scenarios. I will tell you that being comfortable against meta lists are important. However, in my experience, unless you're making cut, you're winning consistently, odds are you're not going to see a lot of those meta lists beyond the first round. Because your first round pairing, you're going to get whatever the system gives you. If you lose your next round, you're going to be paired against everybody that lost in that first round. So if they're meta lists, odds are you're not going to see them. If you win your second round, or even if you lose your second round, you could wind up in a situation where, you know what I mean, you're continuing to fall down the ladder in round 4, and you spin around after losing 2 or 3 and win the next 3 because now you're paired against lists that don't necessarily pair well against anything. Now, if you start winning your round 1, round 2, round 3, then you're going to start seeing a lot of those meta lists. So again, just practice against anything that you can practice against, because it's about situational awareness. It's about looking at what your opponent has, looking at what options you have, what actions are going to be best for you. But when it comes to list building, it's about being comfortable in your list and being comfortable with what actions you can take no matter what the situation.
Thank you for coming. And I'll agree with you. You can call me out on that. That's probably really fair. I don't like to rely on a list, and I have that issue. I will tell you, the problem, Evan, I have to apologize. Like when the last GSP tournament I played it, I had to apologize to a couple people because they're like, "Oh my god, you have Jingo's Zan." It's like, I know, but this is the list I have the most reps with. I apologize, in advance. But I'm not here to make friends. I'm here because I don't have my invite yet. All I want is my stupid invite. Once I get my invite, then I'll fly whatever the heck I want to fly. I'm not going to pick some top tier meta list. Or I will, and I'll tweak it. For a while I was running 3 Jedi Knights with battle meditation and Shafe. Right? That's really not it's a semi-meta list, but it had my own take on it with the battle meditation, and it takes away some of those points you can give to Shakti with a cannon or the patience and things like that. So, I don't know. To me, that kind of goes back to, I agree with you. I have a hard time solidifying on it. And yeah, some of it is because of the amount of time I don't have time to spend getting reps in. And this is the biggest problem is when I played Star Wars Destiny, games were 30 minutes. And the way we used to practice, this is how we would practice. We would be playing a game, and if somebody was winning, so say you had 2 or 3 characters, if you were winning by, basically you had a 75 to 80% chance you would win that game. You concede, the other player conceded, we reshuffled and replayed again, or swapped out decks. So I could play 6 games in 1 hour with Destiny, doing it in that format, if we really got done to it and had everything prepped. So when I was going in to try to make cut for some of the different tournaments, it was a lot easier. I had my, I had a specific deck. I knew how it played. I had a burn deck that I like to play with my Wookiees, or not Wookiees, I'm sorry, my Ewoks. And I love that deck, and it literally just would burn things down. And if I hit a certain deck type, I knew I would lose. I had a 30% chance I would lose. So we didn't practice against those decks very often. So I limited my meta decks that I had to play against, and it just was easier to get reps in. In X-Wing, just as Charles said earlier, we played a game where 3 rounds before, I thought once you took Soontir off the board, and Soontir did 0 damage back to your IG ship, and I baited him in there. I went in, and aggressively went in to kill the IG ship or to half it. And I had 1 point left on Soontir. I was like, screw it. At this point, you already got half points. I can't run from you. You've got me cornered into the board. I'm going to turn in my up and aggressively attack you. And if I live, great. If I don't, at least I can get half points on one of your ships. And it didn't work that way. So Soontir rolled one out of 4 hits and all blanks. Without target lock, you can't do anything.
Ouchie.
And, so my focus evade did nothing.
Mm-hmm. Ouch.
Anyway, so the long story short was that's what it was. But I came back and barely won that with Vader outmaneuvering his IG ship. In swing, it turns a little differently. So, Matt, you have something?
I mean, you guys really pretty much cover. I would say my big thing when it comes down to losing and kind of stuff. Buy something you feel you're at, which comes down to reps and comes down to doing stuff you enjoy playing. You have reps. You know how it works. You could fly it. You know the dial without looking at the dial. You look at the board and know where you can go. Basically reps, which I know everybody else hit too, but really it's nice to be able to have played against it with the list. Like Charles was saying, if you run into a meta list, at least know what you're up against. If you've run the same list, you kind of have an idea. So not just reps, but play something that you feel plays towards your style of play. So if, like, for instance, you really do enjoy running 4 ships, then run 4 ships, and just get good at a list of ships. And if you find that it is fitting you, try to identify some way, shape, or form that will make it fit for you. But don't try to put square block into a round slot. It just isn't going to work, right? So try to find something that at least will work for you and modify it that way. It's hard to say, like, you don't want to change things at the last minute, but if things aren't working for you, then do your best to find something that will work for you, even if you don't have as many reps with it. So there you go.
Right.
Fair enough. So the last thing I want to show, and this is for Charles. Here, I have this. This list is for Charles. I built a multi-faction jank tank, or maybe not quite jank tank list off of his IG list. And I'm going to share it with the world because I thought this was hilarious. Charles, if you ever want to branch into a multi-faction where you could bring one scum ship and the rest are CIS, this list is perfect for you. You get, in this list, Charles, you get IG-88A, which, go ahead.
That's the calculate sharing IG.
It is. And there's 2 things you can do with this. I don't know if it would be good or not, but we'll talk about them in a second. You have sync laser cannons, thermals, faults, transponder codes, and predator. You could share your calculates like crazy. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vultures, 3 with discords, 2 with thread tracers. This allows you to share your calculates. This allows you to give a calculate back to one of the droids that fires a Discord missile. This allows you to keep your stay back, and you get, if you're calculating with that sync laser cannon, you get to have this. And here's the other idea I had with this is you could put like a collision detector, and can't you land on rocks? And you now have an IG. You have an IG that can land on rocks.
So here's an even more interesting thing. How many points are left on your list?
0, because I filled it out. You can make room.
Oh, okay. I almost would, and I'm going with what Twitchy 5x5 said. I'm going with what Twitchy 5x5 said because I think this would be hilarious. Dropping thermals to throw in a tractor beam on IG-88A so that you can tractor people into the Discord missiles that the Droid Federation drone shot into space, giving more, better chance at real damage, because then not only are they tractored onto that, but they're also tractored, so they get 1 less defense die as well.
here
have
you
to get
go.
rid of synced laser
You
cannons,
can.
though, right?
Yep, you get rid of synced laser cannons, but you could have auto blasters and tractor beam and drop to marksmanship and keep thermals and have false transponder codes.
Nobby said that's
you
rude.
could have all that.
Hey,
Charles.
Nobby, how's it going? God, that'd be
That's
so much.
hilarious.
That would be
really
so much
hilarious.
fun.
There you go,
Let's
Charles.
Can we all
We have
take
a
a
run.
moment and be thankful that this is not something that exists?
Yeah, you're right. It can, but it's a fun. This is fun. This is when we talk about when they open up multi-faction list building in Gatsby. I got so excited. I have a supernatural Kylo Vader build that I would love to run. Right? Is it Kylo Vader? I don't remember if it's Kylo Vader or not, but I have a supernatural build that would be hilarious to run. But either which way, I think I thought of you, Charles, when I built this afternoon while I was dealing with other things. So. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap up for the night, or for the day. For those of you joining us from the other side of the world, thank you all for joining us tonight, whatever it is in your time zone. We'll be back next week at 9 p.m. Oh, I have one thing that I forgot to mention. So last week we talked about the draft that we did. We did a whole draft and this whole thing, and we made all these plans. So we have had enough donations to pay for half of the ticket to fly Charles up here. So Charles has committed the rest of the funds. We found a very cheap plane ticket. We are going to actually do an in-person Planning Phase Syndicate tournament with me, Charles, John, and Matt for the draft that we had last week, the last 2 weeks. So we are going to do that on September 19th. We will stream it live as long as the place we're going to has good internet. So I'm pretty sure he does, but we'll be testing that out. And so that's what we're going to be doing, is streaming that live. So we'll be doing very similar to what other people have, and we'll have a couple of commentators in one room, and then we'll have the game set up in another room. By the end of this week, I will have the list published in a doc, and I'll put it in our Discord. So if people want to look at them, so you're going to get to see me fly Scum. I don't fly Scum on a table almost ever. I've only flown Scum on TTS. Like, I have flown Scum twice, maybe 3 times, because I think I have a full Fang Fighter and a Gummet Key list I've flown before. Other than that, I've never really flown a lot of Scum on the table. So you're all going to get to see some crazy Chris fly Scum that Andy doesn't usually fly on a table. So we're in Michigan. We are located in Michigan.
I can't wait to see how crazy this is.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a lot different. All right, so we're going to be doing that. We'll have more details for everybody next week, but we will be streaming it on Twitch. So that's how we're going to stream it, is right onto Twitch. I'm going to be setting up at another person's house, and we'll be back next week with another amazing episode, talking to you hopefully about more spoilers. That would be nice. If we have more spoilers. Also planned for next is a pick set. I know I'm a set lines, not to put pick set together. I had a hard time finding people that know a lot about Epic, so I had to learn how to play Epic first before we can actually do that. But we're going to be doing an Epic. We'll be doing an Epic stream for that here in the next 2 weeks. With that being said, thank you for joining us. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week at 9 p.m. Eastern, 100 UTC time. Have a good night.